You've joined the Mouthfuls community and this is a dialogue event. Today's topic is on friends in friendship. When I first came across this topic, which I will give credit to Noza, she posted on our server a thread about what qualities do you look for in friends? How do you resolve conflicts with the friends? And it's a very interesting topic. Jubilee commented on it and a few other members commented on it. And that inspired me to create this dialogue event. It's a simple but hard topic to speak on. And there's so many things that are individualistic. It's not something that humans come together and define. For that reason, this makes an excellent dialogue topic. And I will spend some time on what is a dialogue and what dialogue is not. A dialogue is a conversation where a group of people come together and the main goal is to share ideas and to reach a common pool of understanding that's better than when we started the conversation. It's different from a debate because a debate has a winning side and has a losing side. And both sides are trying to look for the logic or factual faults of the other side and try to win. In a dialogue, the goal is not to win, but to enhance our understanding of a subject and listen attentively and gain a more well-rounded and broader perspective. As for today's topic, the format will be very easy, very simple. We'll be talking about what is a friend and what is not a friend. I've invited to the stage 6 speakers this far, and we have 3 more speaking seats. If you want to raise your hand, get on the stage, you can click that request to speak button and get on the stage. I have reached out to a few of you more privately, so I'll be inviting some of you up to stage and now let's begin our dialogue. I want to start with the first question. What is a friend? And what qualities matter? And this question will be asked to Falgun. For all of the other speakers on the stage, if you want to comment after Falgun, you can click that blue Can I Speak button. Falgun, what is a friend and what qualities matter?
Hello, Y. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Yes, this is an interesting question and not something that we often ponder about. We just go with the gut feeling when we choosing friend. We don't consciously think too much. But if I have to address this question, I would say that for me, uh, the word acquaintance usually doesn't exist. If I know someone for just 5 minutes, I still call them as friends. But there is further categorization under the broad term friend. Like there are casual friends, there are more close friends, then there are best friends. So yes, like qualities come into play in that categorization for me. And like I also mentioned in the chat that prompt number 7 is really important. I mean, really exciting to me. That kind of addresses this question as well. What qualities I look for in friends. So what I believe actually is that we do appreciate some qualities in our friends, and for that reason we we want to be friends. I mean, it can be charisma, it can be caring nature, or it can be mastery level of knowledge in something, or maybe there's just the fact that we can be without filter with them. So all these different qualities uh, can be something that we seek but we don't have currently. So from that seeking, uh, consciously or subconsciously, we choose them as friends. That is one quality. So one criteria is that we are seeking for some quality that we currently don't possess right now, but our friends have. And second criteria can be how they make us feel. So when I'm in presence of my friend, I can become something else that I'm not usually. Maybe I'm more expressive. Maybe um, I can joke uh, more. How can I say? Like in a more unfiltered way. The thing is, the more filter we use, the less freedom we have. And if someone can make us feel so comfortable that we can be without filter, that's a plus. So I would focus on these two things only, that uh, either the friends, they have some qualities that we seek, or their presence is bringing about some changes in us. For that reason, we appreciate their company. Yeah, that would be all from me on this prompt.
Thank you for that, Falcon. So many wonderful things that you mentioned. The quality that you're seeking in friends, how they make us feel, as well as how comfortable you are around them. I also love that what you said at the beginning. In your world, there's no acquaintance. There's only different levels of friends. Phoenix, what's your thought on this topic?
I totally agree with Falcon. Before I already I always thought about it, like who is my friend. So earlier when I meet any person within few minutes or understanding within few days, I tell them like you are my friend. Then from my experience, from my life experiences, taught me that people don't accept this friendship easily. So like who is friend for me is someone who respect my friendship. uh, there is relatability, there is trustworthiness, and we can connect on some things. There is a vibe match, and there must be respect. What I believe that people, if we are giving friendship, it's not a thing we offer to anyone, so it must be valuable. So but I believe this quality like fun, enjoyable, we can enjoy moment, and with friends we learn as well, we spend time, there's support which is very important. If we want to share something, friend is a contact where we can share and there is no judgment. So that's what I believe about friend, and these qualities must be there.
Excellent points, Phoenix. Dream, what do you think?
Hi. So for me, there's just one major thing I consider when I think of if like someone is my friend or not, is the fact that if I can be vulnerable around that person and that person can do the same with me. I think that is what a friend means to me. And Falun said that he does not like the word acquaintance, but I think if that is not true, then they're just an acquaintance. They're not exactly a friend. So that is my view on it.
Very insightful, Dream. You made us all think about this for a moment around the vulnerability and closeness it brings. Noza, What is a friend and what qualities matter?
Um, so I think it's kind of similar to what Falcon said, that to me a friend is someone who I can connect with on certain aspects of my life, like emotionally and sometimes socially, sometimes physically. In several aspects of my life, I think. And that's what I want to add.
I love that you mentioned physically. I do have a friend from going to the gym, so I love that comprehensive view. Thank you, Noza. Wow, what a wonderful discussion on that topic. Let's move on to the next one. What is not a friend? Acquaintance has been mentioned a couple of times by you now. And to some of you, an acquaintance is not a friend, or it doesn't even exist. What is not a friend? Let's brainstorm. This question, I'll give it to Dream. What is not a friend?
Okay, that one is actually a difficult question. But for this, I will again go back to referring what I said before. I believe that if you cannot be vulnerable with a person, then they are not your friend. I think that's a very important quality that I personally hold when I consider someone as my friend. Also, I believe Phoenix said this, that they must also respect your friendship in the same regard as you hold it. I think that it's very important that friends appreciate their company and their support. And yeah, it's mutual respect between the both of them. It's a two-way street. It's not one way. And yes, so I think that any sort of friendship that does not have these key foundations, I don't think those are friendships. Those are more often acquaintanceships. That's not to say that they cannot develop further, but I don't think they're at that point where you can call them, hey, this is my friend. So, yeah.
Great perspectives, Dream. Anyone else want to touch on this, Falcon? Oh, an easy answer would be an enemy is not a friend. If you are in, that's debatable too. There are also friendemy would be something interesting to touch on for this topic. Falcon.
Yes, this is really interesting. What's not a friend? I remember there is a prompt in our community uh, that we often see. The prompt is, not every smiling face is your friend. I really love that statement. So to know our true friends, I think we should uh, focus on three things. Number one, intention. Number two, action. And number three is words. So most important thing is intention. And second priority is action. Words would be less priority. Uh, so I guess uh, if someone is saying a lot of sweet words, not necessarily that person is a friend. If their actions are aligned with their words, they can be friends. But again, we need to see what is the intention behind their action. So if the action, if it's a positive action or helping action, but it's still coming from an intention of getting something back, then I would call it more of a connection, or maybe what we call in networking term, like resources. Like I have lots of resources, lots of connection in society, but they are not friends. They are just connection. Something is being done, a favor is being given with, and it's within mind that that person can call that favor back. So that's connection. That's not friendship. So for me, uh, those things are not friends. And I would also like to point out something which is often mistaken as a friend, like uh, unconditional support. At least in Indian society, there is a narrative that unconditional support means true friendship. But I would like to go against it. I think uh, retracting support at the right moment can be also an act of true friendship. If the friend is going down a wrong path, if at that point I'm giving unconditional support, I'm actually harming that person. So at specific situations, retracting support can also be friendship. And yeah, and so unconditional support is not friendship. Yeah, that's all from my side.
That was so insightful and succinctly delivered, Falcon. There is a funny saying
Thank you.
about whether that particular friend can hide a body with you, and that would be a funny and silly example of unconditional support. There is a boundary. Yes, you love this friend, you want to support a friend, but would you go as far as doing things that are wrong? Such an interesting
Yeah,
point that you brought up at the end.
thank you.
Phoenix, what is not a friend?
Amazing points shared by Falgun, first of all, and really like lots of things covered. Like someone who not support, like who is not when we are growing, and if we are doing something wrong, then friend must be there to guide us in the right direction. Like as Falgun said, that I want to mention here, that unconditional support, like we not want sympathy. So their friend must be someone who is there when we reach uplift, who uplift, and if someone who do not uplift and just there and say yes, yes in everything, then he should not be friend. Yeah, that I want to add.
Thank you for sharing that, Phoenix. Excellent points. Lastly, Jubilee, what is not a friend to you?
For this one, I think we have this friendship over if there is a betrayal and broken trust happening. If ever you have these secrets, then this friend um, tell it to others, then the trust is broken, then that is considered not a friend already. So that's my point on this prompt.
Such an important element of friendship, trust. And when trust is broken, whether or not, the friend is still there. Very, very deep thought, Jubilee. Thank you for that. Let's move on to the next question. This question, I'll address it to Jubilee. Jubilee, is friendship about feeling close? Like a dream talked about? To dream, if there's no vulnerability, then there's no friendship. Or is it about what we do for each other? Or is it about both, and how do they shape friendship in different ways? Jubilee.
Friendship is both. I think for some people, for example, you're in the sales industry, you have to be friends instantly. So there would be feeling close, feeling. So another is the connection that we have for each other. There's this something vibe, and there's this something that click on the situation. So for others would be the give and take. So what we do for them, for example, you help them, then you they help you also. So basically, there are different levels of whatever you may define friendship. So it may be feeling close, or whatever we do, or whatever we say, whatever we share to each other. So that would be for this friendship question.
Thank you for sharing that, Jubilee. Well done. Just like Falcon said, well done. Members of the audience, thank you so much for listening. I'm Y with a question mark. I'm your host for today. You've joined the Mouthfuls community. This is a dialogue event. The topic is what is a friend? And we're not staying at the surface level at all. We are breaking this big topic down to bricks, and we are conquering each brick one at a time. The stage max is 9, and there is one speaking seat available right now. If you want to join us on stage, click that request to speak button. And I would prefer that you will be able to stay from the beginning till the end, given the conversation does carry forward from the beginning. It would be very difficult for someone to join in the middle. And you want to leave that valuable seat to someone who can stay for the whole time. With that, Dream, you raise your hand. In your opinion, is friendship more about feeling close or about what we do for each other? And if it's about both, how differently each way shape our friendships?
I am so happy you asked me that question because I was itching to talk about it. But I think a good friendship would have both of those things going on. But what I wanted to say was that I believe that if we individually consider both sides, I think with being close, it's I think it's possible to have a friendship which is about being close. But I don't think the latter part of it, like, a friendship being about what we do for each other, that being the only consideration, I don't think that's a friendship. I think it's the next question, I think, but I will not talk too much about it, but it will be a more of a transactional relationship. And those actually happen quite a lot in our lives, and those are not friendships. So I would say that the first part by itself could be a friendship. The second part by itself, not really, but a good friendship would be both of them together. So, yeah.
That was very, very clear to me. Dream, let me ask you a question here. You said that a good friendship would have both components. And you think it's possible to only have emotional intimacy as a friends, but you don't think only doing things for each other can stand alone, be friends. Tell us more. Do you think only having emotional intimacy can be friends? Why is that the case?
I think that there are times in our lives when we cannot exactly do a lot for people. Like, let's just say, considering the online medium, I cannot actually go and do things physically for a lot of my online friends, but that does not mean I cannot sit and listen to their concerns and their feelings. And that does not mean that they don't do the same for me. So that is where I'm coming from when I say that emotional connection is important and it can be the sole factor of a friendship because of certain reasons.
How about friends that you play together? Do you call them friends? For example, friends that I met at a runner's club or I am met at the gym. All we do are to play together, to exercise together, or to dance together. That's a friendship based primarily on doing things together. Do you consider that as friends?
Not necessarily. I think that's more of an acquaintanceship than friendship.
Dream, thank you for sharing your thoughts.
Thanks.
Barnabas.
Yes, so I definitely would first say that I agree with Dream that both of these aspects are important in a friendship. And what I want to say here is, I would say, for me, it's the feeling of being close, of feeling close to that person, that I would say is the foundation to a friendship. And I think that is what makes it different from a normal relationship you might have with someone at work who is an acquaintance, who you talk to now and then, but it's not really deeper than that. I think that's what gives the difference. And I would say that if you are very close to a friend, you got trust and comfort, you can be more open and be vulnerable, talk about topics that you might not talk with everyone. I think what will happen is that because you're so close, you will do things for each other. I think that will come automatically if you're very close with a person. You feel great around them, you feel comfortable around them. I feel like that makes a person want to share things, want to do something for this person, to kind of thank them for this connection, to keep this connection going, because feeling close is important, but each person has their own needs, which can be more physical or things that are outside of this closeness. And I think a friend who wants to keep this friendship going well will often do things for the other person. So I think that will come automatically from being very close to one another, if I understood the question right. So that's what I would say.
Thank you, Barnabas. You showed us the progression from feeling close and how the actions with each other and for each other will come automatically. Like Falcon said, excellent points.
Thank you.
Now, let's move on. You can tell how quick pacing this event is at. We're going to move on to the next question and the next speaker. And this question is addressed to Noza. Noza? Can friendship exist without mutual benefit, or is it always give and take? This was touched on previously as people talked about friendship has to be unconditional. Here, the question directly asked about that. Can friendship exist without mutual benefit, or is it always give and take?
So this is actually an interesting question, and for some reason I feel like there's a reason why it is, like why I'm the first person to speak about it. And I must say, so in my life I have a few friends, and I would say there's someone in real life I know, and we've been friends for a couple of years now. And with her it's when it comes to, I think, emotional support, sometimes I feel like I give more to her than I take from her, I guess. And yeah, but at the same time, it's always, I don't know. I always feel like I can. Yeah, I think I can still reach out to her if I need help, if I need support, I guess. It's kind of. I think this question is very difficult now I think of it. Like, I think It really depends on the values of people, of what kind of value you have as a person. And like I also have another friend, and we both we normally never really speak. We How do I say this? We normally never barely hang out with each other, but last time we did it like after 1 year of not talking to each other, and I found out we both have common ground or mutual benefits. Like we both have topics to talk about something, and we actually also both are very empathetic to each other, and I really feel supported by her, and she also feels I feel like she also feels the same way. So yeah, so if that's yeah, um yeah, yeah, that's it. Mm.
Honest, thank you for sharing your experience with the two different friends. It's really hard. Relationships are really, really hard. The emotional draw from us in any friendship as it goes through its ups and downs, it's very hard. In the first friend that you spoke to us about, where you gave more, and you feel that you could still reach out to her and you imagine that she would be responsive. But between the two of you, you said you gave more. Is reciprocity equal amount of give and take? Is that, how important is it to you? How important it is for you when looking at a friendship?
I was thinking about how to if I should mention this, but so that this first friend I mentioned about is someone I know from high school. Actually, she walked towards me to try to become friends, but she also has this kind of autism, which I don't know if it is because of that, but for some reason I kind of feel like I'm sometimes I'm more supportive towards her, like I don't know how do I say this, maybe like a coach or something. Sometimes I felt like that in the past, and I'm like, yeah, sometimes I kind of doubt if, yeah, how much I actually get from her. Like I don't know, it's different.
Sounds like she has special needs. No,
Yeah.
and you have been so kind to offer support and coaching. Lots of love to you.
Yeah.
Again, that was Noza. Two hands have raised. Falgun. We're
Yes.
talking about reciprocity. Can friendship exist without mutual benefit, or is it always give and take?
Yes. Like I would, I would say that there is mutual benefit in friendship, but it's not always active benefit. It can be passive benefits as well. Like if I take that example which Noza mentioned, where one friend is uh, doing more physically, like more active inputs are given from one side, but it's not the same from the other side. But still, at the same time, I feel that when we are doing something for our friends, during that process of help, uh, we feel kind of enriched, or like it being part of their journey, being part of their life itself has its perk. So I would prefer to call that as a passive benefit, even when I am doing something actively. So I believe any friendship, if it has to exist, there has to be something like I mentioned, it's not an active give and take, but it's something. Otherwise, why I'm friend with that friend? That person. I'm getting something out of it. If at any point someone feels that the expectations are not being met, that I have a different expectation from the friendship, and the other person is not being able to fulfill that, then that friendship is destined to wither away at some point. But to persist, uh, the, friend, the friendship to go on for a long time, both sides should feel that they're at least getting something. It can be active, can be passive. That's what I wanted to add. Thank you.
I like that idea of how being the giving person can on its own be value to us. I like that thought a lot. And I know Noza didn't express that, but I've known her for a long time. I know how much she loves helping others and how much the act of being kind and being helpful enriches her. So I can see that. Not to put words into Noza's mouth. It also comes with the moments of doubts. If you follow Noza's advice journal, you can see that there are also moments of doubts around helping and struggling to draw that line between helping and overextending, between helping and helping too much, and how much is being given up during the process. Complicated topics. Thank you, Falcon, for pointing that out. I love that thought.
Thank you.
Mita, welcome to the stage.
Thank you. Yes. Well, about this exact topic as well. I feel like there's a big difference in the way people give. So the way you can receive certain things, and also the way you give certain things. So, for example, in my situation, I've noticed I had like two friends. One is gave me a bit more, or quite a bit more than the other, but over time, also at first I really appreciated that, and that made me feel good. Also, what Falcon said, you have different intentions behind it. So now after I develop myself, I feel like I appreciate the help or the input from the person who gives me less more, because I feel like that is authentically given, and yeah, I think that's a really interesting thing. Like as you develop, I feel like what you desire is it kind of changes, and I don't necessarily feel like it has to be an even give and take. I feel like at some point it also becomes a lot more important, like what kind of give and take is given, and it goes both ways. You can give others authentic help, and I noticed for myself, I was giving out of a place of wanting to be enough, kind of, and want to be appreciated and stuff. And then you also kind of want things back, and then it just becomes kind of a toxic kind of cycle. While now I just give in certain relationships, like with the second example, I give a lot more, but I am totally fine with it because I'm giving out of authentic love, kind of, and I'm accepting the little that I get because it is also authentic. Yeah, that's basically it.
That's so interesting. Thinking about two people, what you said reminds me of love languages, the different ways people express friendship and or love, friendship and receive friendship. It's interesting you said one friend gave you more, but the other friend you've come to appreciate, the other friend who gave you less but more authentic. Give us specific examples about the friend who gave you less but more authentic. In what ways more authentic?
Right. Um, it's kind of hard to explain specific examples, but it's also like a kind of feeling and an intuition that tells me if it is coming from a place of authenticity. You know, like for example, I noticed that the second friend really wishes the best for me. Like I know that he is happy for me when I do things well, and he goes out of his way sometimes to do certain things because he likes to do it. And the second, I just feel like it is kind of a little bit forced, and then I feel like there's almost like a little bit of resentfulness, almost like mixed with the action. And yeah, it's I'm not. Yeah, it's like it's hard to like explain. Like if it's not the physical action, it's like the intention behind it that's different.
You know it. You might think that it's hard to explain, but I think I've got it. I've got it. Not exactly
Right.
the same situation as you, but I've experienced people who do a lot, but also expect a lot from me. So there's a bit of resentfulness of me not showing enough amount of, for example, emotional connection with the person. And there's a bit of a resentfulness mixed in to, again, people have different needs and different ways of expressing and different preferences in receiving. Mita, thank you for that excellent point. Another hand has been raised, and that's Noza. Noza, we are talking about, can friendship exist without mutual benefit, or is it always give and take?
Was stream first, or did I miss that? Mm. Mm.
It's okay, you can go before me, I don't mind.
Okay. So I actually wanted to add to what I said earlier, that I actually do agree with that friendships should have mutual benefit at some point, but it's also kind of difficult, especially when you think about the context, like how did you meet your friend and how long do you know them? That can make it very difficult, especially when there are things to consider, like what's within their control to give back to you. And yeah, that's what I want to add. So
Thank you for that, Noza. Now, Dream, apologies for missing you. Back to you, Dream.
Oh, it's okay, there were so many hands raised. It's understandable. So I think mostly everyone sort of touched on the points I wanted to say combined, but I'll just say that I think the right word for it is that friendships are about the willingness to help and uplift each other. And I think this sort of a transactional measure of this willingness does not exist because, just like Noza said, in our lives, there are moments when we can give certain amounts of help and attention more so, or give lesser amounts of those sort of attention. But what I'll say is that I think what matters is the willingness to show up even when you're having a bad day, even when you're like, okay, I cannot do much right now there's a lot of going on in my life, but I still wanna help you. I think that is what matters the most. And in situations like these, I think it's sort of, I think Maida said it, it's like on the longer term, yeah, you sort of want mutual benefit. But I think in any point in time, it's like rarely 50-50. I think there's always days when we are sort of down and our friends are helping us and vice versa. And like in my life, I have had some friends who have been like my rocks and they've helped me so much in my life. And I just asked them like, hey guys, I really feel like I'm a bad friend. I haven't done a lot for you. I haven't showed up on so many days. And they were like, the fact that you just tried to come is enough for us. We understand and we love you still. And yeah, so that is what I wanted to say. I think it's the willingness that matters the most.
That's a very touching take, Dream, on that. Very relatable to me as well. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Let's move on to the next topic. Before that, audience members, so many of you have joined and have been listening. Thank you so much for your attention. This is a dialogue event. The topic here today is what is a friend? The stage max is 9 speakers. Ray of Sunshine, I can see your hand is raised. Please keep it raised, just in case a speaker drop off in the middle. At the same time, I do prefer that the speakers carry on the prior conversations. It's really hard to come in the middle with a group who have been talking for an hour already. So I do prefer the speakers on stage to stay if you can. Next topic. Can friendships survive major belief differences, or do shared views keep them together? Some examples of that could be religious views, political views, some fundamental worldview beliefs. Can friendships survive major differences? And I'm going to address that question to Barnabash.
Yes. So the thing is, I actually have a great example in my own life for this question. So my answer for this is that, so before I go into the example, my answer is that it depends, but I would say yes. A difference in beliefs, in major beliefs, can still make a friendship work well. Now, there needs to be something that those two people can agree with. Otherwise, what do you talk about? But let me go into the example. So this is not really a close friend, but some time ago, I used to talk more often with this one person, a couple of times a month. And we used to have 3-4 hour long conversations, usually whenever we talked. And he was a very religious person compared to me. And I remember that in many things we disagreed with, but I feel like it worked really well because we both had some traits of understanding, of listening, of trying to really get the other person's point. Openness. We were open, so we often talked about things we disagreed with, but we both shared our points and views in it, our own experiences, what we have gone through. And it worked. We could discuss these topics. Maybe we didn't agree with them, but I think just the interaction created closeness. We were open. We both shared our thoughts. And because we both comfortably could share what we thought, I feel like it also had some kind of therapeutic effect where we both could be open to share what we think. And from that, we had great interactions. Now, I think it depends, because in many aspects, we still agreed upon. Many things, many values we agreed upon, It's just that how we came to those conclusions and our thought processes for those conclusions were different. But oftentimes the conclusion was the same. So I think you can always find some topics more deep down, some simple values that you might agree with that person. And if you have the ability to speak well and be open and try to not debate, but just have a conversation, I think many differences can be worked at and the friendship can still function. It depends though. If there are major differences where you even disagree with the very simple basic values you have, then I think there might be a problem. But otherwise, I think it can work.
Thank you for that, Barnabas. Thank you for this very thoughtful response.
Thank you.
Mita.
Yeah, so I think we can like be friends with people who have different views. I think what is important in order to make it work is that both parties are not too attached, like attach themselves to a certain argument or side of the story, you know. And if you can do that, I think if both sides like talk about it and share their perspective without attachment, then you can, in most cases, come to a sort of middle ground or come to a certain point or crux where the difference of opinion is found, and then that can just be accepted, and then you can just move forward. And I think that's not what defines a friendship. If there's still love and appreciation for each other, then I don't think like the certain world views or those kind of things would be a problem.
Mita, excellent points. Jubilee.
I have a real life example for this one. I have a best friend since high school. So back then we realized that we have a different political views. So if ever we talk about that, we had arguments. So we just came into the decision that we won't talk about politics until we grow old. So in every election that we have here, we don't talk about politics. So their major beliefs could work if ever you have this mutual decision on not talking about it. So there.
There's an old saying, Jubilee, in my culture about it's to find common ground and put aside differences. What you spoke on reminded me of that old saying. I love it. Thank you everyone for this excellent dialogue on this last topic, and then we're gonna move on to the next one. Time check. We'll be having, unfortunately, there's a question from the audience, Zai. What's the old saying again? I didn't say it because it's in a different language. I translated it into looking for common grounds and put aside your differences. That's used as a golden rule of thumb for interacting with others and to build new relationships. What Jubilee said about her and her friend agreed to not to talk about politics until they grow up reminded me of that old saying. Audience members, if you're listening and you wonder how you can participate, active listening is obviously an excellent way. Another way you can participate is to type out your response, whether a comment on what the speakers said or reactions, emojis. If your comment receives a lot of emoji reactions. I might read it out to the room. And thank you everyone for listening in the audience. The next one that we also touched on in the earlier prompt, can we measure the value of friendship, or is it beyond measure? Can we measure the value of friendship, or is it beyond measure? In the Delta, this is a question addressed to you.
Hi. Sorry, I was eating dragon fruit. I think that yes, the value of friendship can be measured by person to person, but you can't really measure it on a scale. Like for example, it seems like when it comes to people, we can have we can separate people from friends, from best friends to acquaintances and all those other stuff. However, when it comes to a particular person, measuring the value of friendship within a particular person, I believe that can vary depending on the person you're asking that question. Someone might think that particular person is a better friend than another person. And I think that's also a good thing to consider, that we all have our own idea of what is a good friend and how people should go about friendship. And that's just why I believe yes and no when it comes to measuring friendship. You can't really put it on a scale, but we can compare when it comes to the value of friendship within different people.
Very interesting thoughts. And if I were to summarize Delta, to confirm my understanding, you're saying friends can be categorized into best friends or acquaintances. And a friend can be measured in relative terms, meaning this friend is a better friend or a closer or deeper friend than the other friend. But this friend on its own, it's hard to measure its absolute value. Did I understand that correctly?
That's correct. Sorry for the repetitive. Sorry for me being repetitive when it comes to speaking.
Oh, not at all. You spoke wonderfully, Delta.
Okay.
And enjoy eating, Delta.
Thanks.
Barna Bash.
Yes. So I would say you can't measure the value of friendship, especially if you use the word value. I feel like, first of all, each person has different values, so they will value different aspects and traits in each person. So that is already different. And I feel like, okay, how can we measure value? Value could be how close you are with that person. Maybe you find that valuable, that is important to you. How close you are. Maybe it's the quality of conversations you can have. Maybe it's the trust, the strength of the trust. It really depends, but I want to kind of highlight some examples here. So I remember that Noza mentioned to one of the questions that she had a friend who she didn't talk to for a year, but then they reconnected again and they talked. And I've often heard that people can reconnect with a friend and have long conversations after a long time of not talking. And it has so much meaning. The conversations are so deep. And some people, they have to talk weekly. And that's what makes the friendship strong and give it a lot of value. Some people don't have to talk that often, but whenever they talk, it's very deep. Some people don't talk very deep on each occasion, but they speak very often. So it really depends how, like, I would say that many people can reach the same satisfaction in a friendship, but through different means. So that already, I think, says that it's very difficult to measure if this friendship is more valuable than another, because each person has those friendships differently. So yeah, that's what I would say.
Yeah, Varnavesh, I'm so glad you said that because I'm a closet of a closet person defining friendships in its much, much more simpler ways.
Mm.
And I appreciate some diversity there. For instance, in my life, the number of people that I can be emotionally vulnerable with, they are a very, very small group of people in real life. And I don't think that means everyone else is not friends, because I don't see it that way. I define friends as someone I like, and you can tell that they genuinely like you back. So there's genuine mutual desiredness, and there's some common grounds for us to have activities together. So it's not entirely spiritual and mental and even if you're a pen pal, you're writing to each other. And whether or not there is emotional vulnerability or take risks from there, it's a starting point for anything to happen. There's no part of me refuse to have any closeness or emotional intimacy with a friend of that nature. But it's not a must to be a friend with me. I would call someone I genuinely like to play ball with, or other board games with, as my friend, and I genuinely enjoy spending time with them. I enjoy the conversations. None of them were deep, emotional, vulnerable, of that nature, but they are friends. And so I'm the closet I've been holding for quite some time, and I appreciate some diversity. Barnabash, to your point, everyone's needs are different. Some prefer to talk deeply, and some prefer to really just very genuine, very simple happiness.
Yeah.
And it's really, really difficult to measure because it's so individual. Appreciate your thought, Barnabash.
Thank you.
You see, Barnabash made me emotionally vulnerable in front of you. That's how easy it takes for me to open up. Now, Noza, what are your thoughts?
So I wanted to answer this question about is the value of friendship measure, what was it, about if it is measurable. And since I study social work, I've learned, like, we do certain research, like trying to ask people to take a survey about their mental well-being, about different aspects of their life, I guess. And I must say, in a certain way, there are different types of measurements. So, like in a social work field, I think it is measurable. Like by trying to interview others, you can try to find out what other people think, or you can try to measure it that way. Like, doing interviews and trying to find out what people think about something and how they feel.
What does it look like, Noza, in the survey? Is it like on a scale of 1 to 10, how valuable this friend is to you? Can you describe give us an example of how in social work friendships are measured?
So, like, so far in my studies, we have done some research, like we had to read a lot about certain topics, like for now about friendship. I would read a lot of topics and literature about friendship, how it works, and then after that I would need to interview a couple of people, and of course the more people I interview and talk with about this topic, then the more or the better results I will get, and that way you can kind of measure, like, I think, like, how many people actually value what kind of friendship, and like that. I think. Mm.
That's very interesting, Noza. Thank you for sharing how the professionals measure something so abstract. With that, let's move on to the next topic. In the Phoenix, this topic is addressed to you. Phoenix, Falcon touched on this one lightly. Do we choose friends for who they are or who we want to be?
I believe we choose friends for who they are. Like, it's about relatability. Yes, it's there when we relate with them in certain aspect. Still, friends are those who they are and we accept them as they are. As we discussed in, before question, before prompts, where if there are differences, then also they be friends. Yes. So then it's like who they are. If we accept them as they are and we respect them, and still we feel that support, we feel that vibe, and we can be friends. So that's what I believe, that majorly we choose friends for who they are, and little aspect like who we want to be. Uh, yeah, that is kind of mutual relatability aspect, whether there is relatability factor or not. And that's what I want to share here.
Thank you very much. It's so important. I love that one of the virtue you showed in responding to this prompt, that is to accept our friends as who they are. Well said, Phoenix. Dream, you said this is your favorite prompt, Dream. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I really like this prompt because I think this is actually a combination of both. I think we choose our friends for who they are, and we also choose them for who we want to be. Because I think at one part there's like we are drawn to our friends because they are their authentic selves, and we sort of connect with that, we sort of value that, and we appreciate that. But on the other hand, I think, I mean, at least for me, I am also drawn to my friends because of how they reflect in my life and how they help me grow into a person who I want to be. So it's like, I think it's both. And I think both of these values are important, but it's like Jubilee said, like we first need to accept our friends as authentic selves, not someone who we want them to be. But I think that is not what the prompt is about. It's saying that we choose our friendships for who we want to be. And I think that a person's sort of growth trajectory really can depend on the friends they choose to surround themselves with. Because in the end, our friendships to a larger extent do reflect our personality, our sort of moods and associations that we make, the crowds we hang around. So I think that does, help us develop and grow ourselves. So yeah, this is why this is my favorite prompt of the day, because there can be so many different possible answers, but I think in the end, that is what I feel about this. So yeah.
Very open-ended question. Indeed, Dream. And thank you for that refreshing take. Thank you. Mitta.
Yeah, I think it can be both. I feel like I think it is really important to choose a friend or be friends with someone for who they are. I don't think it's right to try to change them. And for like who we want to be, I think that also plays a role. But it's I think important to see a difference between like ways we can want to be like it's I think there's like a difference between trying to be enough and trying to achieve that through friendship and choosing a friend authentically and out of inspiration or yeah, because we want to grow as a person further. Like I think it's kind of a difference, you know. Like it's not okay to choose a friend because they make us feel like we want to, like we make us feel good, but they are actually just kind of reinforcing certain fears that we have inside of us that are, for example, saying we aren't good enough, and then we appreciate them saying we are good enough, but yeah, even though that can also be nice sometimes, but yeah, I think it's mostly your role. Also, they can like remind you of it, but I think it's mostly your role to accept yourself, and then also to have them. You can still have them to kind of like inspire each other and help each other grow, and in that way, kind of.
Thank you, Mitta. Next up, Falgun. You raise your hand, followed by Jubilee. Falgun.
Yes, I know I touched upon this prompt before. Uh, I want to believe that we don't choose friends based on who they are, because we don't really know who they are. Our understanding of a person is just a projection of our perception of that person. For example, let's say I know you, so when I think about you, I think you are an embodiment of leadership, care, focus, and few more qualities. But I'm sure you're not just those qualities. You are much more than that. And it may take a lifetime to completely know you, but I already consider you as my friend. I don't need to know all about you to call you my friend. And why I'm choosing you to call my friend, because of those qualities that I appreciate about you, and because I seek those qualities to be incorporated in my own self as well at some point. So I believe, yes, that acceptance part is there. If the friendship has to be real, authentic, and long lasting, there will be something about our friends that we accept. But we don't make friends, or we don't choose friends for accepting those qualities. We accept because we appreciate some other qualities so much that those other things that we might not accept, we might not like or agree so much, those things become secondary because of those few qualities. So yes, like acceptance is the part of the process. But if the question is whether I choose friends based on who they are or not, then I would say we choose friends based on who we want to be rather than who they are. Yeah, that's all from my part.
Like a projection of our wants. Thank you, Falgun, for sharing that. And Jubilee, we are, for those who have been listening or just joined us not too long ago, we are talking about, do we choose friends for who they are or who we want to be? Jubilee.
For this one, for example, in a setup of for example, it's your first day in school or you have an orientation, then for some, the making of friends would be the impression. So if this person is approachable, looks like friendly, then you approach her or him. Then first, some cases, you won't approach a person who looks like snobbish and who has this resting bitch face. So it depends. So as time goes on, there would be setups wherein you'll just realize that these impressions could be at different. You can for those the for those people who are for example resting this face, you'll realize that they are kind. So um, making friends would be not based on impression anymore. So it depends on the um, wherever you are in the lifetime or whatever maturity you have. So in case of the who we want to be, um, this could be linked to networking. For example, you have a goal of being rich or you have to have a business. Then you have to go to the people who are professional or those who are master of these things. Then you reach out to them for them to teach you on the basic lessons that you needed. So there.
Jubilee, thank you for that. And your friend Mimia, who is in the audience right now, says you described her exactly. Did you know that? Thank you for sharing your thoughts. I don't know. I think I struggle with the same too. Someone snapped a photo of me when I was sleeping. And yeah, it was not a happy face for sure. Not an approachable face for sure. I love the comments here. Thank you, Jubilee, for bringing some lightheartedness to this dialogue. Now let's move on to the last topic of the day. I did prepare more topics than what we will cover for today's dialogue. And I'm very happy to schedule a part 2 for this. But for the recorded portion of this event will end after the last topic. And that is, are lifelong friendships more valuable than brief but intense ones? Such a high note to end today's dialogue. Falgun. Is it Falgun or I feel that Falgun, you were number 2 before. Mita. Mita, have you had your own topic for you as the first person to speak?
Do you want me to bring up a new topic or cover the number 8?
I just realized, Mita, this is the first time you join my events. And I was
Yes.
being unclear.
Okay.
So first off, someone left the speaking queue and Falgun left and rejoined. Mita, I'm just going to say that you're the person this question will be addressed to you.
Okay.
Are lifelong friendships more valuable than brief but intense ones?
It's an interesting one. Well, like what is more valuable? I think that is so So it difference. It's like an opinion kind of. For example, I have had some friends that I have actually one friend that I've known my whole life, and then there was that one friend that I've known for like 4 years, and it was really intense. That was actually the friend of my first example that I brought up earlier, and now we kind of broke up after 4 years in kind of a okay way. Like now we are good, but anyway, I think the intense relationship was really enjoyable, and in the end, what is important in life? Like that's such a hard question, and I think if you enjoy a really intense relationship with someone, then that's awesome, you know, like that's great. And but on the other side, you have that long term, more steady kind of, more maybe someone you can rely on more. So you have kind of um, different things you appreciate from different relationships, I think, because I trust the long term friend more. I can rely on him more. Uh, I know that he will have my back a little bit more, but on the other side, I had a lot of fun. So I think it's both really really valuable. Yeah.
I can relate, Mita. As someone who moved their life across the oceans from one continent to another continent, I look around for people who have friends from childhood. I always look at them with admiration and with envy too. I no longer have connections with childhood friends. Most of my friends are from the time that I moved to a new country. And I love them as well. I love them. There's no lacking in any sense between a lifelong friend versus a shorter friend that I can describe to you intelligently, except for the grass is always greener on the other side. You always think what you don't have is better. Mita, thank you for sharing that. Anyone else on this one? Is a lifelong friendship better or worse? How do you compare a lifelong friendship versus an intense but fleeting friendship? If you want to talk about that, you can click the Can I Speak button. And this will be the last topic for today. What I've noticed today is that we talked a lot at the opinions level. I would love to hear some stories. If you have a story on a lifelong friend versus a fleeting, intense but fleeting friendship, and share your experience just like Mita did, that would be great. Noza.
Okay, I will try. So, lifelong friendship. So, this actually reminds me of a friend. Like, we're still friends for, it's been like 15 years or longer. And so I must say, I'm not, right now I live in the Netherlands, but I wasn't born in here. So when I was 9, I moved from Uzbekistan to the Netherlands. And when I came here, I had to learn the language. And soon after I moved to the Netherlands, I actually met this girl that's like, I think I talked about her before. She was from Poland, and since we met each other and talked to each other, I think we always started to go to school together. and I, ever since that moment, I think we're still friends, and this is also how we connect every time. Like we connect every time when we hang out and have deep conversations. Yeah, and I don't know what else to say.
So that would be a story of a friend that you've known for a long time. What are your thinking on the intense but fleeting friendships? Have you had any like that?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure what it means. Like
intense but fleeting. It means for, I don't know, a few weeks, a couple of months, a few months, you feel like you found your soulmate. You love this person so much. No one else but this person understands you. And it fleets. Fleeting means it comes and it goes. It didn't last long.
Well, I think I used to have a friend in high school. And we kind of share the same birthday. So that was very, very special to me back then. And yeah, it was like the first year in high school, and we were friends, and we always talked to each other during school. And I think I could say that was very, very, very much like that. So, but at some point, I think we disconnected, like from each other, because I think she had some mental health issues, and we at some point we argued about something. I don't really remember much, but last time actually, so then some years passed, and last time recently I decided to reach out to her. Like I was like I was very curious about how she's doing, and then I feel like right now it's I think we are still kind of friends. Like we still have plans to hang out more. I don't know if this makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. It showed us the resilience of friendships, even if it may at times feel like the friendship was over, but you can always restore it years after.
Yeah.
Thank you for that story, Noza. Thank you for sharing. Mita, this is your prompt and you raise your hand again. Mita, what do you have to add?
Yeah, so what Noth also said, like made me think. Like, so with this example that I kind of just explained, with that friend, so it was really great. Like you explained it also really well. With like super intense, it feels like a soulmate, but it's kind of fleeting in a way. It makes me think, like, can you make a long-lasting relationship with anyone? You know, is that like almost possible? Because I haven't made the decision completely yet. I was like kind of thinking about having a talk with this person and like have a kind of a good breakup talk almost. But yeah, it's hard because like we're talking about like what is worth to you, and I've had so many great experiences with this person. It's so intense that it's almost like so difficult to let go. You know, it's like you're leaving something behind that was great. But then, like, what makes me kind of go that direction is that I think with these relationships, I think the reason why it clicked so hard and was so intense was kind of because we were filling each other's like feeling of insecurity up, kind of like feeling, yeah, like making each other be enough, kind of, which is not always really healthy, I guess. So I feel like it's also a learning experience, and then you need to kind of have certain, over time you get new desires for friends or what you appreciate, and if they can't if they can't follow up or align with your desires of a friend, and I think that has to end at some point. But yeah, it's a really difficult thing. So yeah, that's kind of my experience.
Such is life, Mita. We learn so much from friendships, from the enduring ones as well as the broken ones. And I think you made choices that led your life to a direction that you wanted to. And I really appreciate that, Mita. Thank you for sharing that story. Next up, Jubilee. For those who have been listening, there is a speaking seat available. If you have a comment on what you've just heard, any of the speakers, there is an opportunity for you to come up to the stage and share your thoughts. I will no longer be giving new topics. The new topics will stop, but if you have any comments, there is one speaking seat. To join us on stage, you can click that request to speak button and click accept when you see the invite. Jubilee, what are your thoughts on lifelong friendships versus intense but fleeting ones? Which one do you value more?
For this one, both are valuable, but for the question if what is more valuable, I think lifelong friendships are valuable since they stick with you through thick and thin. Then a perfect example would be Jay, who is my lifelong friendship. We are really happy to share the same community. It's just that she wanted to join the dialogue also, but the time did not permit. We're just happy that in this in this stage of life, we share the same goal of growing and improving more on what we want to improve and reaching more of our goals. So in this case, she will not be joining, but I'm sure she will listen to the recorded one. So there would be also brief but intense ones. This friendship, I would define them as friendship over. Um, at first, it would be heartbreaking to have friendships that are over, but over time, you'll just realize that it is meant to be. You just have to accept that they are gone in your life, and I think their mission or their purpose in your life is already done. So we just accept what is in the present and allow the new persons or the new people coming your way. So there.
Yeah, Jubilee, I really appreciate your insights. You gave me a new viewpoint. I previously said I couldn't find any reason that makes me value lifelong friends more than the fleeting ones other than grass is greener on the other. But I neglected what Jubilee exactly said. The lifelong friends who are still in your life, they're still part of your life. And that's a very plain and direct reason why they are more valuable, because they're still part of your life. The fleeting ones, they stay in your memory. As Mimia very beautifully said in the side chat, people may come and go, but they leave a part of them a lesson, an experience, something to be grateful for. As you talked about your friends, I have flashes of all of the smiley faces of my friends, past ones and current ones in my life. I define friends more broadly than most of you. And I think a key difference for me here is I don't label, just like Falcon said at the very beginning, friends have various stage of deepness and closeness. I don't label friends who have the potential to have emotional intimacy, but not yet there, just no opportunity to be there, as acquaintances so soon. I find the act of labeling them acquaintance is in a way stopping me from reaching out. And I prefer to call them friends because calling them friends make me feel more open-ended with what the friendship could be and how it could evolve. With that, I'm ending today's dialogue. What is a friend? This is a roughly monthly event series. All of the topics are inspired by heated discussions on this server or a random book that I read recently. And the flavor of the discussion here at the dialogue event is disagreement shared in a way that promotes diversity, promotes sharing of new perspectives. And the goal is not to debate, but to exchange ideas, to listen to others attentively and walk away with a new growth. I'm Y with a question mark. I'm your host for today. Thank you so much, all of the audience members, for listening. There are so many amazing events on this server, just like this one. And I will share the calendar channel. You can check out all of the speaking practice events, role play events in the calendar channel. There are also 2 channels I highly recommend you check out. That is Find Practice as well as Find Activity. These 2 channels contain all of the member organized speaking practice events, social events, just chatting events, music, karaoke games, you can name them. What I love about these 2 channels is that they allow you to experience events organized by a smaller group of people with a lot of airtime for practice and focused on a skill that you want to hone and hosted by one of your most popular friends. So I really, really love that concept, and I, as a server owner, with the role of building the platform, I want to support Find Practice and Find Activity as much as I can. So definitely check these 2 channels out for the amazing community organized events. There are also new bot development. So for all of our subscribers, as well as staff members, you will enjoy the new AI speech feedback feature. Definitely check out the bot, the AI feedback channel if you have access, and play around. What it gives you is that you can practice on all of the speaking prompts that have been used at our speaking events. You can practice on your own and get a recording and get AI feedback on your speech. With that, I'm going to close the event. I don't want to end the event, then all of us will be kicked out of the event all of a sudden. How impolite. I would invite you to leave the room on your own one by one. And thank you so much for listening. Siobhan, shout out to a few of you. Timer, Melika, Ryan, Mimia, Nati, good to see you back. Lib, Ray, PCO, and Phoenix, and Noza. Athena, thank you so much for joining me either on stage or listening as audience. Thank you. And recording of this event will be shared on our YouTube channel. And you may also get video pings from our channels and rows. Channel timer, thank you. Thank you everyone for joining me on stage. Dream, thank you. Jubilee, Mita, thank you. Falgun, excellent points today. Everyone, you can leave the room. I don't want to kick you out. Thank you, Dream. Siobhan, thank you.